Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to another episode of PatriaSpeaks. Hey everyone, I hope that everyone is enjoying their day, their evening, or whatever time you are listening to this podcast. I just want to say thank you to all who have been tuning in to PatriaSpeaks and giving their words of encouragement, inspiration, and also just being on the podcast with me. Just recently, I had a podcast with 5 beautiful ladies of Atlanta speaking about their journey of entrepreneurship. That was in November. And then I also just did another podcast about self-care with Sean Miles and his product, which is Marley 3000 Collections. I just want to give a big shout out to them, and I pray that God moves you in a way like never before, and thank you for your gifts and your talents of serving the people. So I thank you. I know it's been a minute since I've done a actual episode with me speaking, but whoever was in tune with the 21-day challenge of the Love Fest, of speaking affirmations, and our gratitude, the Grateful 40-day challenge, I just want to say thank you, and I hope that challenge was embraced and encouraged you to move forward. You see some things happen in your life, you manifested some things, and you just seen some things go down in your life. So I hope that was able to encourage you to keep going and moving forward and speaking life into your situation, speaking life into your life. And remember that the power of the tongue is either make you or break you. So you choose wisely. But today's topic, I just really want to introduce you to my world and where I get my inspiration from and how I move forward in my life. Now, many will say, well, I won't say many will say, but I am a spiritual person. I believe in the Most High. I believe in Jesus Christ. If you don't, that's okay. But I do pray that you believe in a higher power. I pray that you're able to get encouragement, whichever God that you believe in. I pray that you are able to be inspired by that and move forward and just manifest in that and just really move forward and create beautiful, 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 beautiful motivations for yourself. So whichever God that you believe in, I pray that you are moved in a way like never before into your greatness, and that you are living proof of what greatness is. And even though we meet up with trials and tribulations, you know that you can pray to your God, and you know that you can get confirmation when it comes to your life. So with this topic is going to talk about the power of prayer and obedience. So for those who actually do read the Bible, you can actually find the scriptures that I'm going to read. But I just want to get in tune with prayer and obedience. So prayer, for those that don't know, it is an address or such as a petition to God or a God in word or thought said. A prayer for success of voyage. A set of words used in praying, and an earnest request or wish. The act or practice of praying to God or a God in kneeling in prayer. So let me just tell my little testimony and just break it down for you. So recently, my spirit was troubled. You know, the death of my brother's anniversary was coming up. That's on December 5th. And I was really dreading Thanksgiving, because that was the last holiday that me and my brother spent. And even though it's my favorite holiday, not only because of the food, but the memories that come with it. You know, you share with your family, with laughs and smiles and good eats. Awesome time. But this time around, the enemy knew what he was doing. Despite the fact that I had a hot girl summer that turned out to be the coldest winter ever, the enemy was setting up traps because he just knew what was about to go down. So God was setting up a test as well. See, we can't always blame every situation on the devil. Like, a lot of us will be like, yeah, because the devil tried to play me today. The devil tried to play me today. Oh, the devil this. We can't give the devil so much credit, because sometimes God allows, because remember, God stripped him of his authority. So understand this. Sometimes God does things for reasons and give you a test for a testimony. So we can't always give credit to the devil, because sometimes it may be a test. At times it may be a test. So just remember, God is about to bless you when you're being tested. God is about to bless you, but he needs to know how serious you are. Like, basically seeing how serious you are. And this is where your faith comes in. This is where your faith needs to be activated. And if you don't know what faith is, it's in hopes for things that are not seen. In hopes for it. So remember, every test is not coming from the devil. Okay? It's not. But activate that faith. So going forward, for about the last 2 weeks, I've been feeling like something like death in the air. Like, I haven't had an actual visual of me dying or anything, but I've had like that feeling, like when my brother passed away, it was like this dark feeling, like this overcoming, crazy feeling. And I remember me having a conversation, with one of my friends, and she was advising me that, like, sometimes, Patria, when you have a feeling of death, it doesn't necessarily mean you're going to die, but it could mean that a situation that was going on could be dying, or a relationship with someone else could be dying as well, or is about to be done. So, for the past couple of weeks, I had been waking up in the middle of the night, feeling so anxious. And of course, when you get into that anxiety type of feel, you start to cry, shake. Whoever has experienced anxiety knows the whole motion of that point. You breathe, your chest, everything just seems so closed in. But whatever it is, I didn't know what it was. So whenever I become questionable about what's going on in my life, I always pray. And the power of prayer is magnificent. So anytime something is, and that's something good for you. Anytime you feel questionable about something, you need to pray. Seek the kingdom. Seek the kingdom first. So if you have your Bibles, or if you read your Bible, the scripture tells you in Philippians 4:6-7, do not be anxious about anything, but in every situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. And the peace of God, which transcends all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus. So, to break it down, prayer equals salvation. And if you don't know what salvation is the preservation or deliverance from harm, ruin, or loss. So let me say that again. It's the preservation or deliverance from harm, ruin, or loss. Okay? So, prayer, when you're putting out your request, you're praying for a deliverance. God, deliver me from this pain. God, deliver me from whatever it is that I'm questionable about. When he delivers you, he gives you an answer. So you praying is asking God to say, hey, look, I need you. I want you. I need to hear your voice. I need to hear you to direct me. I need to feel your presence. I need your understanding, please. I need you to guard my heart and my mind, because right now it is out of control. And that's how I felt. I felt out of control. I felt like death was coming upon me. And I needed to know, like, what was really going on. So I had to pray. I definitely had to pray. But understand this. There was a test going on. There was a test. And even though, understand this, your relationship that you have with God, not everybody's going to understand your relationship with God. See, a lot of us have a religion. A lot of us are, some of us, I'm not going to say a lot of us. Some of us have a religion, and the religion sometimes gets in the way of your spirituality. It gets in the way of the importance of who God is and who the God that you serve. So a lot of us, and I'm going to say a lot of us, are not religious. We are spiritual. And as far as people who say, I am a Christian, a lot of people look down upon that because they're like, oh, well, you guys with the traditions as far as this and that and the third. But when you get into your word and when you decide that you want to build a relationship with God, when I tell you all those traditional things goes out the window. So this is not about a religion. This is about your relationship. The things that I speak right now that I'm telling you with prayer and understanding who your God is, this is about a relationship that you and God has. And it does not have to be good for someone else. This is between you and God. Okay? Your prayer is your your prayer is your communication between you and God. Okay? For you to get an understanding of what He has planned for your life. Not what you have planned, but what He has planned. Because remember, He is the creator of all things. Okay? Including you. He formed you in your mother's womb. Okay? So, understand this. So, going forward, the test. So let me tell y'all about my test. So I plan to go to New York on December 5th, which was the anniversary of my brother's death. Now, when I planned it, I'm just going to be honest with y'all. At first, it was definitely not on good foundation. I was really trying to be like past relationship or whatever. I wasn't digging it or whatever. And I felt like I needed to go to New York. And I was going to do this, that, and the third. So it really wasn't on good foundation, okay? But of course, I was thinking of a master plan. So I decided, like, okay, if I go to New York, I can go see my nephew, which I've been dying to see because I haven't seen him in about 3 years. And also, my cousin's birthday, which was December 6th, I can go and pop up at her party as well. Trying to do too much. Of course, that's Patria. Now, even though I planned to see my nephew, got him all excited, and also got my cousin all excited, I still felt like it wasn't right for me to go. So, remember, I'm having this ancient anxiety. I'm thinking it's just anxiety because I'm not really a airplane flyer, but I'll get on a plane. I'd rather get on a plane than to drive. So at first I'm thinking, well, maybe it's me. Maybe it's the whole feeling about me getting on the plane. Trying to make excuses for the test. Oh, just get on there. You're going for a good reason. Then I tried to convince myself that, okay, I'm going there to see my nephew, and I'm going there to see my cousin. My cousin needs me. She needs me to turn up, just to be in good spirits because, she was going through a little bit too. And I thought, why not go there? So I kind of, the whole reasoning of me going there kind of faded out. But anyway, going forward, so 48 hours before I get on the plane, remember, I'm praying too. So 48 hours, God speaks to me in the middle of the night. He said, in the next 48 hours, remember, you will not die, but you have to make a choice. And it's either going to be life or death. And I woke up and I said, what? Now, for those who don't know, they're probably like, Patria, really, God spoke to you? No, honey. Let me tell you something. If you are a spiritual person, okay? If you are a spiritual person, you know the voice of God. You know when God is speaking through people. You know when God is placing you in certain places, especially when you are fasting. You already know that this is not a coincidence. This is God speaking to me. This is God speaking to my heart. So I had to make a decision. And the decision was me going to New York. and I started thinking, well, what was going to change drastically in my life at that time? It wasn't me going to work. It wasn't me being in a relationship with anybody, because I'm not in a relationship with anybody. What was drastically going to be happening in the next 48 hours? And that was my trip to New York. So I had to keep praying. I prayed even more. I had to continuously to pray, because I was like, God, I need you right now. I heard your voice, but direct my paths. Direct my paths, Lord. I need you to direct my paths. So, of course, I analyzed the whole trip. Now, going to New York was not the disobedient action. It was what I was going to be doing in New York. Because, yes, I was going to see my nephew. Yes, I was going to see my cousin. But I knew exactly, if I get up there was no way I was just going to go up there and things was not going to be said. Now, with the situation that I was in, I knew God delivered me from so much pain when it came to that particular relationship. I went through anxiety, I went through depression, and not just because of that particular person, but because it was not on good foundation. It truly wasn't. So because God delivered me from that situation, I'm playing with fire, literally playing with fire. He let me have a hot girl summer. He let me have a hot girl summer. But when I tell you, that was it. You wasn't going to try me again. The Father said you wasn't going to try me again. And remember, I had to remember also that I am still on an assignment with God. And a lot of people may not understand this, but my relationship with God, in order for me to move forward in certain ways of life, I'm going to be put to the test to see how hungry I am for the promises that He has for my life in order for me to get to the next level. So I know I'm still on assignment with God. And yes, He allowed me to have a hot girl summer, and He forgave me. See, God is a forgiving God. I just want you guys to remember that. But this time, it wasn't going down like that. He had to see that I was serious about my walk with Him. I had made a covenant with God that I wanted a different relationship. My relationship, not with someone, but with me and God, and putting it first. And the Lord said, as long as I keep my word, He will always keep His. So I knew that I had to fall back from my trip. So I just want you to remember this. See, God's word never changes. Remember, we do. And because of the grace and the mercy He has gave us a choice, we often fail to realize that and ask ourselves, why am I failing? Or why is this happening to me? But I want you to ask yourself, have I kept my word lately? How many times have I pleaded with God, saying, God, if you get me out this time, I promise I will do better. And of course, the list goes on and on and on and on. And remember, God didn't switch up. You did. But I'm here to tell you, remember, you can surrender it all. Okay? You can surrender it all. God is a forgiving God. Yes, He knows how to chastise you. And that's also in the word. But yes, He does chastise you. He definitely does. But I want you to understand, faith activates things. Prayer, the power of prayer and being obedient to His word is a way of you getting to the next level. And whenever you become questionable about anything in your life, I want you to remind yourself about the power of prayer, about the communication with the Father to give you direction. Even when you can't see things, that's that faith that comes in. Even when you can't see something, seek the kingdom, seek your God, pray to your God. Pray to your God for guidance. Pray for your God, to your God for direction, clarity. provision. Ask your God, hey, I need you. Not that I want you. I feel that there's danger coming upon me. I need you to tell me, is this the right way that I need to go? For your understanding. Your relationship with God, not Patria's relationship, not your baby daddy relationship, not your mother's relationship, not the guy down the street, the girl at the store. Your relationship with God. How thirsty are you to understand the word from your God? So I want you to trust in the Lord with all of your heart. Lean not onto your understanding. In all your ways, he will acknowledge and he will direct your paths. And that's the word that I have for you today. I gave you my testimony so that you can understand how I had to listen to God. And I did not go to New York. And I did not go to New York because I knew that that's what God was telling me. That if I went to New York, that would have cut off the assignment. I would have went back on my word, and I would not been able to, the death of the assignment would have been over with. That would have been cutting ties. And I wouldn't have been able to understand why I'm starting back. I got so far, and by me not listening to him and understanding what God wanted for me, because I'm on assignment. My cousin, my nephew, all of those don't know my serious relationship that I have with God. They don't know. They just know, oh, Patria didn't come. Oh, another excuse. But I'm on assignment. And when you are on an assignment, not only with God, understand this, you could be on an assignment with your job. You know that you have a certain time that you got to get this done. You know that your boss gave you this assignment. There could be a party going on tomorrow. But you can't go because you are on assignment. You have to complete that. It's the same situation with God. When God has you on an assignment to do something, all that partying and having fun and doing what you're doing, you can't do because you are on assignment. So once you become, you start to get your relationship with God, you'll understand what I mean about assignment. And if you have any questions about that, about your spirituality, or you want some confirmation about that, I do not mind praying. I actually have, if you've been following me on my if you've been following me on my YouTube, you will know that I have an actual friend that we are going to get into praying for people, because I believe in the power of prayer. I believe that prayer does things, miraculous things. It's your communication with God. Not that you're just asking for things, but being grateful and thanking him for the things that's going on in your life. And sometimes you may not be able to, when you're going through your trials and tribulations, and I am an example of that. I am a witness of that sometimes praying becomes very hard for individuals, especially when you are in the mode of being mad, or you're in a mode of sorrow, or being, feeling down, or even being in your victory. Sometimes we get so caught up with being in our victory that we forget to pray and thank God for what's going on in our lives. So I decided that I would partner up with my friend, and we've been doing this since January. We can tell you some things that have been moving around in our lives, some concerns that we had, and God delivered us from, and that was us communicating with him and also understanding our relationship with God and reading his word and getting into his word. So a lot of things have happened. A lot of things have been cleared up just by the power of prayer. So if you need prayer, don't ever hesitate to DM me. Some people who are listening to this podcast has my telephone number. I will not judge you. I promise you, I am not somebody that needs to judge. Please believe me. Remember what I told you, I had a hot girl summer. So I am not the one to judge, but I am the one to love you for who you are, just as God. If I call myself a woman of God, I'm going to follow the steps of God. God is a forgiving God, and he is not a judgmental God. He will love you forever and ever and ever, as long as you make the choice to choose him. So I love you. I love you. I love you. And remember, decide to put a demand on your relationship with God. and understand that it's okay to expect an outcome. So activate that faith and keep it moving. Okay? Activate that faith and keep it moving. So I pray that this podcast was able to encourage you to become a better prayer warrior. Because I know it's some people out here that know how to pray. And they haven't prayed in so long, they thinking they don't have it. But I know that you can pray. If you can't, I'm here for you to pray with you. So I pray that this word was able to get into your spirit and move you in a direction of greatness. Understand the warning signs. Understand when God is talking to you. If you need some encouragement, do not hesitate to outreach to me. Also, I'm going to have another live segment. I'm trying to get a young brother. He's going to speak about his life after imprisonment. Life after imprisonment. He spent 10 years in prison, and he is a spiritual he's just magnificent. He's a motivational speaker. He's very, very spiritual. And he is just all sold out for God. And he is doing some things. And he's encouraging and inspiring others to, whatever questions you may have, he's down for it. So watch out for that next segment. I'm really trying to get that done in January as well. If you would like to star or be my next guest on the podcast, please feel free to email me at personalwithpurpose19@gmail.com. Also, you can DM me on Facebook on my Personal with Purpose blog page. I believe it's a blog page, a fan page. If you haven't liked that page, please like the page so you'll be updated whenever there's a next episode on PatriaSpeaks. Also, please subscribe to my YouTube channel, Personal with Purpose. You can also put it in the search box, PatriaSpeaks, and I should pop up as well. So make sure you subscribe so that you will be notified every single time a new episode is uploaded. Also, I'm on every podcast platform, so you will see my latest podcast. You will see my latest episodes on the podcast as well. So I hope that this was able to encourage you to be a better person, a greater person, and keep tuning into me. Thank you so much for the support. Be beautiful, be blessed, inside and out.